The Great British Cake, The Making of a Nation by S.D. Wickett. There is a new sentiment that we so often hear about, that there is no such thing as British. That British is the delusion of a jingoist fever dream, whipped up by demagogues or Russian trolls to pervert the masses into a nationalistic fervour. Egged on by a media and intellectual class who, in the words of George Orwell, would feel more shame standing for the national anthem than stealing from a church donation box. A recent onslaught of this messaging was brought on by the success and subsequent failure of the English national football team in this summer's Euros, a tournament steeped in each form of progressive messaging. England, we were told, would not have done so well if it weren't for immigrants. So shut up, bigot, and enjoy the bread and circuses. The notion that we come from nothing, are nothing, and have nothing to be proud of is an arrogant and shallow retort to anything resembling British pride. Its inherent nihilism and oikophobia is backed up by a flawed understanding of the British story, either made in ignorance or in bad faith depending on the actor. I said the British story, for that is what I believe a nation to be. A nation is a story of a people, a long, continuous, unbroken chain that stretches from the time you are listening to this, all the way back to the dawn of man. It is the story of our fathers, their fathers before them, and so on for about 2 millennia. Detractors of the national story will adopt a simple, effective, and ironic stance, conflating a lack of complete purity with a denial of existence outright. I am not typically one to label progressives as the real racists, but the similarity in this occasion is quite humorous. They will point out that this island's original inhabitants vanished without a trace, not too long after building Stonehenge. They will then direct your attention to the fact that the island was then settled by Celts, who supposedly came from the Iberian Peninsula, then on to the Roman Empire, the Anglo-Saxons being a migratory group, and it is true, obviously. The Franco-Norman aristocracy did, for centuries, control the highest level of English society. The Danes did, in fact, control vast swathes of England. No serious historian doubts this. Through the logical prism of purity, this is a difficult axiom to deny. The historical nature of his events is unquestioned and unquestionable. However, the entire prism is flawed and its findings equally so. It is a prism without sentiment, steeped in ruthless pragmatism and scientism, a common folly of the intellectual class. Another common mistake, especially when dealing with European civilizations, is to make the appeal that nations are built on ideas. For civilizations which formed prior to the Enlightenment, this is a laughable proposition, and one which ignores the schism in the nations of the world that requires recognition. There are 2 types of country, the Old World and the New World. The New World nation is one formed out of Enlightenment principles, the USA being a key example. A nation built on federalism, the Republic, and Masonic liberalism. France, too, despite being older than England, it was reborn in the Enlightenment as a nation of continental radicalism, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Old World nations are far easier to identify. They are not beacons of thought, ideas, and Enlightenment scientism. They are collections of people and stories, a mere reality. An old world nation isn't about from where its people evolved or where the story begins. It is not concerned with the ideas of conceptions, revolution, or the glory of individual men. It is the simple and salient fact that each story and the myriad of unbroken chains it carries ended up here. In Britain, calling themselves British, or English, Scots, Welsh, and Irish. All of these stories came together in a location. Here. We are a mixture, but we are a precise mixture, because a thing is the sum of its parts. A cake is a cake. A cake is not flour, eggs, and frosting. It is the precise sum of its components. What we consider to be the British people is a cake. It is a mixture of the Celtic, Anglo-Saxon, Roman, Norse, and Franco-Norman. That is our cake. Each is a story, the destinies of men whose destination was this little island of ours. Each person is at the end of a line that extends from the present day to the dawn of man. We are the inheritors of our story, of the destinies and the destinations of our ancestors. We are entrusted with maintaining the chain, keeping what is unique on this island and passing it on unharmed. The late conservative thinker, Sir Roger Scruton, once said that conservatism starts from a sentiment that all mature people can readily share. The sentiment that good things are easily destroyed but not easily created. That is our connection to our home, the understanding that what we have is something good, decent, virtuous, and worthy of protection. It is a connection that no amount of disparagement or social engineering can break, because it is us. It is our story, our chain, our cake. Thank you for listening to this Bournbrook essay. You can read our print issues and online articles at bournbrookmag.com, and you can support Bournbrook at bournbrookmag.com/subscribe.